Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Neidigh. We have a shorter update tonight. So this is from Leslie Sloane, the publicist for Blake Lively. It's another motion to compel, but this is between. So she's trying to get communications between the Wayfarer parties and a reporter at the Daily Mail. Now the reporter is not Josh Boswell. Josh Boswell was the one that saw the subpoena, as well as did someone from Page Six in the Van Zandt thing. And he wrote about that, and then as well as he reported that the whistleblower in the preserve, whatever you want to call that business, I guess you could call it a business, that Blake Lively had run back in 2014, I think it was, and that was just a couple days ago that article came out. So it's a different reporter, and they already sent the subpoena, and the guy is fighting it, and now they're trying to get the judge to say, no, you have to turn over these messages, basically, but yeah. Give me 1 second here, guys. So, hey, Rob, what's going on? Sorry, I meant to call you back, man. I'll have to do that after. Let me just pull it up because I need to go to bed at a human hour tonight. So Leslie Sloane, her attorneys are the ones in these court conferences who are always like, why is my client and her woman-run business being dragged into this? We have no idea. This is outrageous. And I always read their stuff in like a Patrick Starr voice in my brain because that's how it sounds to me, just like dumb and unaware. Because it's like they're always saying this to a room full of, lawyers who are representing women-owned businesses or women-run businesses, and I'm just kind of like, what are you doing? What does that have to do with anything? So, yeah. Hey, Mary Kate, how's it going? All right. Like I said, this is not going to be too long. They should subpoena people in TMZ. Well, I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to subpoena anybody. We're talking about Leslie, though. I'm not talking about Wayfarer. Hey, hot stuff. You kiss your wife with that mouth. All right. So, okay. Sorry, guys. I was outside. And I did exercise, so now I'm like exhausted. Okay, I got this. On behalf of Leslie Sloane and Vision PR, we write pursuant to individual Rule 4.c to request that the court compel third-party James. Is it Vitushka? Is that how you say that? I'm just kidding, man. Tell your wife hi. Okay. Vitushka's documents. We're just gonna call him James. How about that? Let's see. James's documents concerning this dispute, including his text messages with the Wayfarer parties and their counsel that are quoted directly in the case's operative pleadings, are plainly relevant and discoverable. Okay. James is a reporter for the Daily Mail who worked hand in hand with the Wayfarer parties to drag Miss Sloane into this litigation. The thrust of the Wayfarer party's claims against Miss Sloane is that she allegedly told James that Blake was sexually assaulted. But the Wayfarer party's own pleadings indicate that sexual assault were James's chosen words, not words that Miss Sloane ever uttered. I don't actually know that that's true. So we'll have to go back and look at that. Or if one of you guys has it up, which one of you usually does. The amended complaint does not allege what specific words Miss Sloane may have said when she said them or in what context. Instead, it includes a screenshot of an undated text message between James and Melissa Nathan, which was purportedly exchanged following the release of Lively's administrative complaint on December 20th. In the text, James, not Miss Sloane, writes, "Now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted." Okay. So maybe in that one specific text message, he is saying that. Does that mean that she never said it in any other message? Because it sounds like she at least heavily implied it. Did she correct him? I don't know that she did. So, just saying, that's one text message. All right. As explained in the Sloane party's motion to dismiss, the phrase sexually assaulted appears to be James's own characterization of details, including in Lively's administrative complaint, and not any words Miss Sloane ever said. Indeed, the screenshot embeds an image of James' August 18th, or August 8th, my bad, conversation with Miss Sloane, and then states that Miss Sloane did not mention any allegations of sexual assault. This is, of course, consistent with the fact that no one, including the Daily Mail, has ever published an article accusing Baldoni of sexual assault in connection with this dispute. The Wayfarer parties themselves further confirmed that Miss Sloane never accused Baldoni of sexual assault in their complaint in their prior action against the New York Times, which included a screenshot of another text chain where James told Melissa Nathan and Brian Friedman that he had many conversations with Miss Sloane about Blake, and never once did she say anything about sexual assault. Okay. So maybe they did say that. I'll have to go back into it. Sorry, one sec. I want to just go back to this for a second here, where they're saying nobody ever said sexual assault. When you're accusing someone of non-consensual, like sexual touching, kissing, whatever, what do you think that means? So I don't know if those exact words were used, but if you're describing the act, somebody says first Jack Wallace, then Shasti Flaw, and now Daily Mail. Yeah, no, I did see that Shasti was named in one of the subpoenas to Wayfarer. That's pretty crazy. I'm gonna have to go back and look at what they answered on that. So yeah. The judge is going to lose his shit soon. Man, I don't know. I don't know how these things usually go, but I hope not. I don't want anyone to lose their shit, you know. Okay. Despite a complete lack of Rule 11 support, if I hear one more thing about Rule 11, I swear to God. Despite a complete lack of Rule 11 support for the allegation that Ms. Sloane accused Baldoni of sexual assault or made any other allegedly defamatory statements concerning the Wayfarer parties, the Wayfarer parties have sued the Sloane parties for defamation and related claims based solely on their misreading of James's text. James' documents and testimony, however, will clarify that any use of the phrase sexual assault was his words and not Ms. Sloane's, and will end the frivolous claims the Sloane parties have been forced to defend for half a year. So this is what I'm talking about. They're saying like this is their only claim, and then they're always saying, "Oh, we don't even know why we're being sued." But it's laid out right there in the First Amendment complaint. So why don't you go check on that? The reporter's privilege does not apply. Okay. James invoked the reporter's privilege as grounds to refuse to comply with the Sloane party's document requests. This objection is without merit because he waived the privilege. Even if he didn't waive it, the material sought is not news gathering material, so the privilege doesn't apply. And 3, even if the privilege did apply, it is overcome here. So I have no idea if they're making a good case for that or not, to be honest. I don't know. All right. James waived the reporter's privilege by voluntarily disclosing information about Miss Sloane to the Wayfarer parties and their counsel. The reporter's privilege cannot be used as a shield to protect that which has already been exposed to view. Moreover, to the extent James is invoking the privilege to protect the Wayfarer parties, they waived it by excerpting their conversations with James and their publicly accessible complaints. Okay. B, the material sought is not news gathering material covered by the privilege. Regardless of waiver, the court should compel James to produce documents and communications in response to requests number 5 to 7 and 13, to the extent those requests seek material concerning him furnishing information to the Wayfarer parties and their counsel for purposes of litigation, rather than seeking information from the Wayfarer parties and their counsel for purposes of purposes of reporting the news. Jesus, I cannot talk tonight. All right. In other words, the reporter's privilege does not apply to James's conversation with Nathan and Friedman to the extent he was supplying them with information to be included in a complaint, rather than gathering information from them to be included in an article. Okay. Let me see. Request number 5 seeks all communications with Melissa and Nathan. Okay. 6, all documents and communications concerning your statement. She's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted. Okay. We'll see all this at the bottom anyways. Of course, the reporter's privilege does not apply to all of James's conversations simply because he happens to be a journalist. It certainly does not apply to his statements pictured in the amended complaint, which have never appeared in a Daily Mail article and instead appear only in the pleadings against the Sloane parties. It kind of sounds like they might have a point there. Again, I never like when they have a point, but it kind of sounds like they might have a point. So, Froggy Kirsty, thank you for the 5. Love your stuff, but cannot like anything. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, bro. But thank you. All right. Even if the reporter's privilege did apply, it is overcome where, as here, the information sought is non-confidential and is 1, highly material and relevant, 2, critical or necessary to the maintenance of the claim or defense, and 3, not obtainable from any alternative source. Okay. Oh, she can't like the videos. Well, that sucks. Well, thanks for trying. Cannot thumbs up any of your stuff. That's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, YouTube's been doing all kinds of weird crap. But thank you anyways. Appreciate it. It's the thought that counts, yeah. Okay. First, the material sought is not merely relevant, it is central. As explained above, the only basis for the Wayfarer party's claims against the Sloane parties is James's statement. Again, I don't know about that. In discovery, the Wayfarer parties have not produced a single document connecting Miss Sloane with any allegedly defamatory statements concerning sexual assault or Baldoni being a sexual predator, nor have they identified a single person who she allegedly made those statements to. The statements the Wayfarer parties attribute to James in their complaints are therefore the sole basis for their claims against the Sloane parties. James's documents are therefore highly material. So Leslie Sloane has a motion to compel outstanding still with the Wayfarer parties, where she's trying to get documents from them. I don't believe that's been ruled on. So as far as they're talking about discovery and shit like that, they haven't produced a single document, but her motion to compel with them has not been, ruled on. So second, given the centrality of James's representations, the Sloane parties cannot meaningfully defend themselves without the discovery necessary to understand his statements. Third, the material sought is not reasonably obtainable from other available sources because only James has access to the full scope of information necessary to clarify or contextualize his statements. For example, even if Nathan or Friedman somehow knew what James meant when he said, "Now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted," their testimony would be wholly speculative. Moreover, they are in an adversarial position to the Sloane parties and therefore cannot serve as a reliable source for the information sought. Okay. I mean, this is just where he's objecting to producing this stuff or answering certain questions. So we'll kind of skim through this, but I don't know if we're going to see anything super interesting in these exhibits. Give me 1 second, guys. Chris D, thank you for the 10. This lawsuit has more plot twists than the movie they were making. Dude, it really does. And it's much longer. At this point, the courtroom might need its own IMDb page. Can't wait for the sequel. It ends with court. Yeah, I have a feeling that's the only sequel that's going to be made in this franchise. So thank you. Appreciate it. And Froggy Kirsty, thank you for the 5. Thanks again for all you do. Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. Those are just general objections. We're going to skim over that. Okay. So they want all documents and communications concerning the Sloane parties, including but not limited to any telephone, video, or voice recordings of the Sloane parties. Okay. All documents and communications concerning the film. Okay. James further objects to this request as overly broad and unduly burdensome because the search of the Daily Mail website for it ends with us alone from December 1st, 2022 to present returns over 2,200 hits. I mean, all right. So they're basically just saying no to everything, but that's not shocking. I don't know how this one's gonna go, so we'll see. All communications with any Wayfarer parties concerning the film, the Lively Reynolds parties, the Sloane parties, Baldoni, the allegations in the above captioned matter, and or any press stories or social media related to the same. That seems a little broad. That's certainly a lot more than they were alluding to asking for in the letter, but okay. Sure. All documents and communications concerning the Wayfarer party's solicitation of you to publish negative material about the Lively Reynolds parties, whether paid or unpaid. What does it have to do with Leslie Sloane? She wants like text messages or whatever from Wayfarer, assuming there are any, that they're saying you should write this negative article or publish this negative article about Blake and Ryan. What does that have to do with their claims against Leslie Sloane? That's what I want to know. What is that? Is that actually? This is random as fuck. It feels random, but I don't know. Maybe you guys can make sense of it. Let me know. All documents and communications with any of the Wayfarer parties reflecting any formal or informal agreement to publish negative material about the Lively Reynolds parties and or the Sloane parties. Okay. Well, she's including herself in this one. Okay. All documents and communications concerning the Wayfarer party's provision to you of any information or material related to the Lively Reynolds parties. All documents and communications concerning efforts to harm the Lively Reynolds parties and to do damage and to damage their public image. I mean, these all kind of sound like different ways to word the same sort of thing, but all right. And again, what does that actually have to do with Leslie Sloane? This one concerning efforts to harm the Sloane parties, I kind of get. But for the Lively Reynolds parties, why? Shouldn't they be getting that? Should they not ask for that if they need it? I don't know. All right. All documents and communications concerning the Wayfarer party's efforts to seed, influence, manipulate, boost, amplify, or engage with social media algorithms, narrative, or virality, as well as the use of bots or inauthentic accounts. What would that have to do with this reporter? Like, at what point in time are we thinking that anyone on Wayfarer would have been like, hey, let's tell James we're about to use a bunch of bots to blow shit up on Blake? You know, like, what? How is that going to happen? I mean, never say never, I guess, but almost I can almost see no scenario where that would be happening, and the one or two that I can are absurd. Okay. Yeah, like I said, that wasn't too long. Hold on, wait. What is this one? Oh shit. Okay, hang on. I think we got something else may have just popped up. That makes sense because why would anyone want me to go to bed before midnight ever? Let's see, what is this? Okay, so this is regarding the investigation. Hang on. All right, we'll go through this real quick since this just popped up. So this is, she was trying to, that whole thing where she's trying to cease and desist the firm that's doing the independent investigation into her claims for Wayfarer. And she was trying to compel certain information from them, like witness recordings and documents and stuff like that. So they are opposing that here. Hang on. Can you read this real quick? Kristen, thank you for the 10 for Pacer and Just Because. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. That helps a lot. All right. Okay. The motion should be denied because it seeks disclosure of materials that are not in the Wayfarer entity's possession, custody, or control. So, like they said, the investigation is ongoing. So, when we saw those correspondences between Blake Lively's counsel and the firm who's doing this investigation, they're saying this is ongoing. We haven't given, or disclosed any of this information to Wayfarer yet because we don't do that while this stuff is still ongoing. So, they don't have anything to really give at this point. So, I mean, yeah. Lively first contends that the investigation is a disingenuous charade because the Wayfarer entity should have but failed to investigate Miss Lively's concerns when she first raised them in May 2023, distorts the record. Lively fails to note that her allegations were first disclosed on December 20th, 2024, in the complaint Lively filed with the CCRD. The current investigation was promptly initiated by Wayfarer in January 2025 when Wayfarer retained, and that's Friedman's firm, I think, right? No, Rains, Feldman, and Luttrell. Who is that? Oh, that's the firm doing the investigation, right? Yeah. When Wayfarer retained we'll just call it the firms. Investigators. Okay, that works too. Fine. To conduct an independent investigation into Lively's newly surfaced claims. Okay. Whoa, what the fuck? Sorry. Okay. Second, as Lively is well aware, the investigation is ongoing. Accordingly, the investigators' findings, reports, witness statements, and related materials have not been disclosed to Wayfarer. Accordingly, the Wayfarer entities have no documents in their possession, custody, or control that are responsive to Lively's request, and so informed Lively's counsel on May 10th. As this court has previously held, a party cannot be compelled to produce materials it does not possess. Okay. In fact, the Wayfarer entities presently have no knowledge as to whether such documents in fact exist. The Wayfarer entities have made clear, and reaffirm here, that if and when any responsive, non-privileged materials are received upon the conclusion of this investigation, they will be reviewed and produced in accordance with the Wayfarer entity's discovery obligations. Third, Lively's contention that the materials from the ongoing investigation fall outside the protections of the attorney-client privilege and work product doctrine is baseless and contrary to well-settled law. The investigation is being conducted by outside legal counsel retained to independently evaluate Lively's recent allegations through a confidential, privileged legal process. As the investigators have confirmed, both in written objections to Lively's subpoena and in correspondence with her counsel, they are using their legal training and professional judgment to gather and analyze facts for the purpose of advising Wayfarer on Lively's new claims. Courts have consistently held that such investigations, when undertaken by counsel to render legal advice, are protected from such disclosure by both the attorney-client privilege and attorney work product doctrine. Lively's demand that the Wayfarer entities identify all witnesses contacted and turn over notes, recordings, and communications relating to those interviews, even while the investigation is still underway, is not only invasive and unprecedented, it seeks to undermine the investigative process itself. Especially given the high-profile nature of this litigation, premature disclosure of the requested materials would risk chilling witness candor, distorting the fact-gathering process, and undermining the neutrality that is fundamental to a credible inquiry. Wayfarer has not yet either asserted or waived the attorney-client privilege because, again, it does not have the documents from the investigation and cannot yet review them for privilege. And in any event, such a waiver, even if made, would not compel the production of attorney work product held by the investigators, which remains independently protected under well-established law. Fourth, Lively's claim that the Wayfarer entities waived privilege by placing the adequacy of the investigation at issue vis-a-vis its 13th affirmative defense misrepresents both the timing and scope of that defense. That defense has nothing to do with the investigation now underway that was initiated in January 2025 in response to Lively's new allegations raised for the first time in her December 2024 CRD complaint. The Wayfarer entities have not, as Lively contends, cited or relied upon the current investigation in any pleading, nor placed it at issue in this litigation. The cases cited by Lively in her motion on this point are entirely inapposite. They all involve defendants who expressly relied on the adequacy of their internal investigations to defend against claims. As discussed, the Wayfarer entities have made no such assertion and have not put the current investigation at issue. Finally, the investigators to whom Lively issued a subpoena have properly objected to the subpoena on privilege and work product grounds. While the Wayfarer entities take no position here on the contents of those objections, their existence demonstrates that the discovery process regarding those materials is already proceeding through proper channels. Should Lively wish to contest any specific privilege claims or other objections, the appropriate route is to do so via the subpoena process, not by seeking to compel the Wayfarer entities to produce materials they have not received. All right. Lucky me, that wasn't too long either. All right, hang on. One sec. What are you guys talking about over here? All right. Kicked out for being loud. Who got kicked out for being loud? I didn't kick anyone. Must have been Laura. All right. It's Iceland. It's 2 a.m. right now, but I can't sleep, so here I am listening to your narration and colorful commentary. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry it was so short. But yeah. Oh, that's weird, dude. No, I never kicked anyone. All right. Let's see. Anoli Usti, I have genuinely never hated anyone before. Thank you for the $2. I think I know what you're getting at, but it's kind of funny that, you know, it's kind of like I've never hated anyone before, but I hate you. You know what I mean? But no, you're good. You're good. Okay. Thank you very much. Can we get a summary? Eek, bruh. That was less than 30 minutes. I can't make it much shorter than that. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, hang on. Froggy Kirsty, thank you for the 5. If you ever visit Melbourne, Australia, yell out, you're welcome here anytime, mate. Actually, I'll be there in a couple weeks. If you ever go to Wentworth, there's a convention up there. So I'm going to Sydney first just to hang out, and then I'm going to Melbourne for that. So if you're going to that, tell me somehow. All right. Thanks. I appreciate you. All right, guys. I got to roll because I would love to go to bed tonight, for real. Thanks, everyone.